Back with another video. This video is going to be looking at how PSG progressed past Bayern Munich in the Champions League into the semifinals now. And before we start, take a look at the description below. There will be a link to my book. It's on Amazon, ready to be purchased. And take a look for the Keyframe Link as well if you want to check out how I make these videos and try to keep improving them for you and become a member. All members, of course, will receive my book for free, no charge at all, so check out that option as well. But let's get right into it. So each team lined up on paper in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2, depending on the situation you want to look at it. So in possession, so starting off, PSG go with a back three, Navas splitting the two center backs, and Neymar being the key player between the lines. Paredes and Gaye stagger themselves to then create an overload in the half space, and many times the fluidity of these players involving Neymar looking to overload the half space and work off players like Di Maria and then Mbappe. Mbappe played most effective when he played on the outside shoulder of the two center backs, giving him more time to run in behind. And when the double pivot were deeper, this gave Neymar more space between the lines. And with Bayern Munich, they built up similarly, but Kimmich looked to be the main holding midfielder, with Alaba having more freedom in the left half space. Coman and Sané staggered themselves in wide areas as they paired up with the two forwards through the middle. Alaba we see going into the half space, and now a 2-3 rest defense shape from Bayern Munich. And going into the final third, this would be the case as well, with Alaba going higher and Kimmich being the main holding midfielder, the width being created by the wingers, but with Davies and his abilities physically, this was subject to change, with Coleman coming between the lines and Davies then coming into the wide area and Alaba dropping deeper. Forward with the video, we're going to use Keyframe. Again, the link is in the description below. And for some in-game examples first, Bayern Munich in possession, we see when Alphonso Davies takes up the right or the left-hand wide area, creating the width in the Bayern Munich structure, going with the back four in the first half, which will then change in the second half to have a bit more control and to change a few of their passing options going forward to lead to more progressions. They have their double pivot, Kimmich and Alaba. Alaba playing more advanced, as we see their staggering starting here, and Alaba favoring more between the lines in the half space. We have our two forwards, Motang and Muller, and the width being created on the weak side through Sané, as Kingsley Coman goes more narrow because of Alphonso Davies in the wide area here. And from PSG now, we have them looking in a 4-4-2 situation, as we see with our defender there, our right defender, our two center backs, and our left defender. Then with our four-man midfield, with then leaving Neymar and Mbappe in front for a fast transition. And when Bayern Munich opened up with an expansive back four, this is when they looked most susceptible to counterattacks through the half space from Mbappe or Neymar or either of the wingers. So in the second half, changing to a back three made a lot of sense. So now another look from Bayern Munich. We go with their back four again in the first half. Then we have our two holding midfielders, and again Alaba looking to play between the lines to then occupy these four players between the lines in advanced areas, and he's connecting the wide structure with Kingsley Coman. And then on the weak side, we have our two forwards playing the blind spot of the defenders. And just quickly highlighting the PSG 4-4-2, as we see here, we have our four defenders, and compactness and staggering was one of PSG's strong points in the match, and using their cover shadows to occupy the space between the lines. The big test was going up 2v2 in the center forward and center back position, but with the staggering of the two lines and the use of cover shadows and their vertical compactness, they dealt with this with minimal issues, especially in the first half. Then when PSG were in possession of the ball, they too created width via their fullbacks with a staggering double pivot, but their midfield was much more fluid than Bayern Munich's. For instance, with the inclusion of Neymar as the 10, this opened up movements from a lot of other places to try and create space for him, as we see Draxler on the inside, Di Maria holding the width on the weak side, and Mbappe through the middle. So when Di Maria would occupy the space between the lines, as we see he's done here, this would invite Neymar to work off of him if he wanted to actively get involved, thus taking up a deeper position. So now when the Bayern Munich players would shift, so we see Kimmich here, he would have to choose one or the other depending on the situation. So if he went deeper and Sané went to go and press, then Neymar would be left free to then collect the ball in front of the line and start the attack going further forward. And now Bayern Munich's tactical change for the second half, showing them in a back three in the build-up phase, and Kimmich still the lone holding midfielder with Alaba going higher between the lines, and not much change from PSG, as we see they're still in their 4-4-2. So now the last picture, this is in a PSG build-up. It started from the goalkeeper, Keylor Navas, and their double pivot staying deeper now, so this would free up movement for Neymar in the 10 position, with Draxler and Di Maria coming narrow. The width being created by the fullbacks here, allowing them to play narrow, and by playing more spatially oriented, Bayern Munich at times opened themselves up to blindside movements from Neymar and allowed him to collect the ball in dangerous areas between the lines and make runs off of his wingers primarily, would be his main reference point. So when the wingers would go deeper, he'd pretty much go higher. When they would stay wide, this would open up the half space for Neymar to then move in the blind side of the two holding midfielders. And with Mbappe on the shoulder of the center backs, they often didn't jump into the midfield because of the threat Mbappe possessed in behind. So that's the analysis, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, check out the link to my book below, and I'll see you in the next one.